Hi, I'm Chuck Bastie, guest host on Living 365 TV today.
I'm Tammy Cunningham, guest host on Living 365 today.
Hi, my name is Michael Santonato. I'm the guest host today on Living 365 TV.
It's time to stop waiting and start living 365.
It's time to stop waiting and start living 365.
It's time to stop waiting and start living 365.
Hi, I'm Priya Ali, host of Living 365 TV. It's time to stop waiting and start living 365. Hi, and welcome to Living 365 TV, a show designed to bring you real experts, real tools for real people like you, ready to stop waiting and start living. I'm your host, Priya Ali, and if you're the kind of viewer that's sitting there on your computer watching the show, slumped back in your sweats and just being comfortable in your life, click off because this is not the show for you. Sit up, get ready to get fresh and sexy with my wonderful host today as I start teaching you how to stop waiting and start living your life on the leading edge of living. So I want to introduce you to my fabulous co-host that I have with me here today. Exactly to my left is the wonderful, gorgeous Michael Santonato, relationship master, founder of the Organic Method of Dating and the Sensational Sex Seminar. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you, Priya. It's great to be here.
Thank you. Tammy Cunningham, beautiful Tammy Cunningham, relationship and communication expert, speaker and facilitator, creator of Freeze Frame, Mantra of Movement, What Women Want, which is a course for you single men, and the Emotional Monologue. Welcome.
Thank you.
Chuck Bastie, Goldilocks, welcome to the show. Chuck Bastie is a relationship coach and author of Men Don't Get It. You don't say, huh?
They don't.
They don't get it,
We
huh?
just don't get it.
Just don't get it.
Bummer.
Well, guys, welcome to Living 365 TV. Today we're bringing some relationship topics to our guests and to our viewers, and really wanting to talk about what's going on in the dating world these days. Who's at the table is single, who's taken, just so we can get that out there for those of you who are like, who can I hook up with? Let's
Taken.
just taken.
Taken.
Single.
Taken.
Single, taken, single. Just throwing that out there. Good. So what are you finding? I'm finding with people that are coming in to me for coaching that women, some of the women that I'm seeing are sort of very self-sufficient, very independent these days. Women do not necessarily need a man like they used to when at least my mother was married to my father, or still is, as I was growing up. But there's a difference. So I'm finding that women are a lot stronger these days, not really needing a man. So their expectations, desires for what they're looking for have changed. What are you guys finding in your practices and when you're out there?
I can say that I think that, I'm a big fan of the current women's movement and the women that are empowering themselves in business and in leadership and in career. And I think that more women in business and in politics is a good thing for us. I think that what's also happening though is that they're sacrificing a little bit of that romance that they still want. So I'm seeing that they're happy to be successful. I'm thrilled that they're more confident and more successful, more able to provide. Kudos to single moms out there. My girlfriend's a single mom. And at the same time, they're missing some of that love that they'd like to have still. If they're heterosexual and they're looking for a male to bring in the love in their life. So what's happening is some of that overconfidence, and not overconfidence, but some of that confidence is kind of stepping over that authentic love that they still want to have. So although being a powerful woman doesn't mean that they don't like to be in a man's embrace or have someone to go to bed with at the end of the night, not like sexually, but wake up with someone in the morning.
Yeah, definitely. What do you guys think? Jump in here.
I think that I've interviewed thousands of women for my book, Men Don't Get It, and what I really realized is the paradigm shift that you mentioned about women not actually needing a man, but more wanting a man. And when it comes down to what they're looking for in a man, because they have their own career now, they're well educated, women have their choice, and when they look at what they want to settle for, what they don't want to settle for, they need to have a stronger man show up who's just not going to be a provider and protector, typically like old men usually have been in the past. And now they're looking for a much better communicator. I think it's more the onus on us men to start beginning to be better, more powerful, efficient communicators with women, which creates that connection inside the relationship.
Yeah. Tammy, how do you think from the female perspective?
from the people. Well, what I notice with a lot of my clients is we're very driven,
Right.
and we're working so hard in our lives, in our careers, running households. Like your girlfriend is a single mom, so she's running a household, raising a family, and presumably mostly on her own until she met you. And so what happens, I find with my clients, is they hook into a certain way of being and they take that into their relationships.
Yeah.
So the next thing we know, they're trying to control all the outcomes. They're being more of a mother than a lover to their partners. They're having agendas and expectations based on timelines, which goes back to control. And so what I do with most of my clients is I help them soften themselves in their relationship, because all of that driven stuff isn't vulnerability.
Right.
And relationship is vulnerability.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like as women, because sort of as we're geared to be, as we were born as a species, men were meant to be hunters and providers and protectors. Women were meant to be nurturers and nourishers. And I feel like in some ways, I often joke around, kind of joking, were these women in the 50s that screwed us over? It used to be great. You could dress up, you could wear a nice little apron, you possibly even had someone that was a housekeeper. You cooked your meal, you played bridge with your girls in the afternoon while sipping a cocktail, and then your husband came home, and I'm like, now I have to do that and make a living and run the household, and it's like, why did we do this? I don't know if this was such a good idea. Not to take away from wanting to have the strength and contribute as a member of society, but I feel like in some ways women's rights and equality have been a little bit misconstrued over the years as to what it really means to be an equal human, as opposed to I need to be a man. What do you think about that? You know, because I feel as though in some ways women think in order to be an equal human they need to be a man, they need to be a CEO, which is where I think some of what you're saying is we get a little rough around the edges. We start walking around like we've got a pear hanging down there, and no, I don't think any guy wants to be with a woman who has bigger balls, as I'll just say it, than he does.
No man wants to date his brother.
Right?
Nobody.
Right.
No man wants to do that.
Yeah.
I think that what's great about what you were saying is that women are missing sometimes the balance of bringing feminine energy to the relationship and bringing masculine energy to the business. It takes masculine energy to run a business or have a career or be successful. Those are driven qualities that require step-by-step thinking, which is a masculine trait. But in a relationship, there's a place for feminine energy, which is being vulnerable, as you mentioned, being open, being relaxed, and being able to receive.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think too, because we're geared as men and women. I mean, women can be CEOs, but if she came to the boardroom and cried, that would be a big old no-no, right? And I mean, if a guy pulls into the boardroom who's crying, he's done.
Right.
He's totally done. He's a wuss. He's this. He's that. There's just no room for emotion.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing is I'm finding my male clients are not in touch with or comfortable showing emotion, because since they were little boys, we've been taught boys don't cry, suck it up, be a man, right? And then all of a sudden, they get into relationships, they're in their 30s and 40s, I get women in their office going, well, he doesn't express his feelings. Well, no kidding, honey. He's been taught for his whole life not to.
Exactly.
And now we're saying, come on, open up, shed a tear, tell me you love me, hold my hand.
Yeah.
So how are we able to gear men into being more comfortable and in touch with their feelings? Now, you say men don't get it, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think?
I think you're exactly right when it comes down to men and their feelings, and typically in the old paradigm we haven't been able to express that for fear of being weak, or vulnerability for us as men is a weakness. It's not a strength. And there's only two emotions that connect human beings. One is vulnerability, like Tammy said, and one is empathy. And for us, we're already half in the game of trying to get to that spot, because we're not allowed to be vulnerable because it's weakness, or it's we're yellow, or we're little boys, or whatever we are. And when it comes down to it, I think what we really look for in a relationship are two things. Men are very simple this way. First is sex. And that doesn't need to be talked about, but the second is support. And how support looks for each man is different, but it's up to the relationship people together to create what is support for you. For men, generally it is I just need you to believe in me. That's right. Your superpower in the feminine energy, creating this for, if you want to see your man go to another level, just give him that support. Believe in him when he didn't believe in himself, be a superstar. And I feel most of my clients are alpha females. And when they come down to it, they usually pick a beta male as a partner. And he's usually not driven, and she tries to actually inspire him and coach him and that, and then he just doesn't want to go, and then she actually starts nagging him, which is the masculine energy, what Michael actually mentioned. And inside of that, there's a breakdown inside of that dynamic. So when it comes down to it, the feminine energy, authentic feminine energy, is to actually inspire and to create. And that's a superpower that women have that men don't have.
So Chuck just described my 2 marriages.
Guilty. Yeah.
Be proud.
And the thing is that in a relationship, we do switch back and forth. So sometimes a man is more beta, as you said, and may carry some of the more feminine aspects. But the thing is what it is.
Yeah.
If we own it, we can create anything. So we can have an alpha female can have an amazing relationship with a beta male, so long as they accept that beta male as they are.
In that role, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
well said.
Yeah, totally. And I think in any successful relationship, acceptance of the person as they are is key.
Totally.
Because, it's that famous, I love you, now change.
Yeah.
Right?
Doesn't
so
work.
it just
Doesn't
doesn't
work.
work.
Yeah, I say in relationships that we all need to have 4 things. That in a successful relationship, you can agree to disagree.
Yeah.
And I call it hurrah. So it stands for heard, understood, respected, and accepted. So I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
I understand that's your point of view. I respect your ability to have that point of view, and I accept that that's your opinion.
Yeah.
So if we agree on all 4 of those, then we can agree to disagree on anything. If one of those is missing, it's the same as all 4 of those are missing, because everybody needs to feel heard, understood, respected, and accepted. When people don't hear me, I know I go batshit crazy.
Yeah.
So and then you just start to try and dominate the other partner to try to get them to listen to you,
Yeah.
and you're coming from a place of weakness or fear,
Yeah.
and then
So
everything just goes to the wayside.
You get emotional because
Yeah.
you're not feeling you're understood or
and
you're
it creates
being heard.
disconnect
Totally.
across the board. Yeah.
Now, you mentioned a little bit back around when we were talking a few minutes ago about sex, and you said we'd leave that aside. But I think that's a huge component in a relationship and its success. So I think that's changing a little bit too. People are not having as much time. There's not as much effort put into that. What are you guys seeing in your practices?
That's Michael. Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, my partner and I, Jessica, we created the Sensational Sex Seminar for that very reason.
Okay.
We started to discover that we probably had a above average sex life. The sex we're having, we've not had, we're both very active, sexually active people throughout our lives. And we said, this is something really unique, really special. We've not had anything like this before. Got to the root of it, and we just kept kind of peeling back the layers and sharing what it was. And we discovered that it was our connection. So it was the depth of our connection. We
Right.
found that the deeper the connection, the better the sex.
Of course.
But you also have to make time for it, like you said.
Yeah.
And so many people, especially some of the successful people that we serve, they're busy with their business, they're busy with their work. The phone's in the room and the vibrate thing is going off and the sound is
That's
going
not
off
the
and the
sexual
ding and the
vibrate
bing.
thing, right?
It's not that vibrator. No, it's not that one. It's the while you're doing your thing over
Okay,
here.
I just want to make sure we were
You
clear.
can
what we
hear
got
it going on over
Okay.
there. The bing goes off, right?
Right.
And so people need to take time for it, absolutely. But it really is, it's as simple as like date night. You got to make time for it. Like
Yeah.
her and I know we're having sex every other day, sometimes twice a day, sometimes every day. And it's because we put time into it. And sex is like an investment. It's like the more time and energy you put in, the more you get back. So
Yeah.
the more sex we have, our connection grows and our love grows.
Absolutely. But I also find still that with a lot of these alpha females, they're more sexually driven, yet we still have some of these old stereotypes around women that like sex as, being sluts, whores, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
How are we able to guide women these days into being comfortable at the level of sexuality that they desire and being able to embrace that?
Yeah.
I think that it comes down to intimacy. So many people get up against their intimacy wall in relationships. And I'm sure all of us have been there at some point where we were able to say I love you yesterday and today it hurts to say it. It's so hard. It's like running a marathon and hitting the wall and now we're stuck. And we see this all the time in relationships. Sometimes that drive for sex is the intimacy wall. Because instead of having the intimacy, we're having sex. Do you see what I'm saying?
I do.
Yeah, so sometimes that's what I find with my more driven clients is that they're often actually emotionally unavailable.
Right.
Yeah.
And how they're compensating for that is having sex.
Yeah.
And so I get what you're saying because we all coach and we're relationship coach, but for the average viewer who may not understand the difference between intimacy and sex, guys,
Yeah.
break it down a little bit.
It's really simple, and we distinguish it in our seminar. And I heard Chuck swear earlier, so maybe swearing's okay.
Yeah.
So there's a difference between making love and fucking.
Yeah.
And what you're talking about, I hear sex and intimacy. I hear making love and fucking, and I hear that people don't know the difference. And sometimes it's weird when your partner's trying to do one and you're trying to do the other. It's like you're not on the same page, but both are, time and a place for everything.
Yeah.
Making love is intimacy, and that's deep, and that's powerful, and that's slow. and it takes time, and there's a lot more caressing.
Yes.
And the other thing is a lot more get it done fast, hard, time and a place, aggression, power, like
Release.
force, release. But there's a time and a place for both, and both are
Right.
good. It takes communication to have both, though.
Yeah.
And the number one thing we found that is missing is communication.
Yeah.
And sometimes the walls go up and they stay up when a couple's not communicating. It's like, I was pissed off at you at that other thing yesterday, so I'm not having sex with you today.
Exactly.
I think just to add to your point, Mike, and that's a great point he makes, is the communication on the side. Some men just look at sex as just sex, and I always say to my male clients, are you having enough sex? And if they say no, the chances are very high. It's because they're not making it safe for their partner. So what a man expects from a woman is support, unconditional support, believe in me, nurture me, give me feminine love, because he can't get that anywhere else.
Right.
And that's the
Right.
reason why men actually need that connection,
right.
that partnership, because
Absolutely.
it inspires us to do better things. We're nothing without women. However, with women, when it comes to sex and intimacy, it needs to come from a safety side and a vulnerability side, like Tammy said, about meet me halfway, make me feel special, make me feel safe, allow me to be me, accept me, respect me. And if men are actually doing that, women will give them all the sex that they could handle, and probably more so, because women probably, I'm going to say, are more sexually generated to give that energy out. And if they're not doing it, it's because the man's not making it safe for the woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I find too that sometimes, you always hear that he wants it all the time kind of thing. And there is a certain level of physiology in the male body as well as the female body, but as in the male body that just requires that kind of, they were, again, going back to being hunters and
Yeah,
providers.
very primal.
There's a bit of that primal
Very
instinct
primal.
that says, you
Yeah.
know what, let me impregnate you, and then let me go and impregnate you, because
Sure.
I was supposed to procreate, and I've knocked you up for 9 months now, and you're pretty much, you're good to go, so I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to go over here, and I need to keep moving, because that's how the body works. So not to say, we're not supporting infidelity or anything like that, but just to understand that that's a part of a natural part of a man's needs, and even just to observe other women being out and a man noticing a beautiful woman, it's not necessarily because
Yeah.
I don't think you're wonderful
Right.
and you're not the love of my life.
Right.
It's because my body is built that way, and
Yeah.
it just is meant to notice that kind
Yeah.
of thing, and it doesn't mean anything beyond that. How do you all feel about that?
I don't think there should be anything wrong with appreciating beauty.
Right.
Period.
Yeah.
Whether it's these flowers,
Yes.
or it's this, or it's the beautiful woman there.
Right.
And
Yeah.
my partner is secure enough, and that's
Yes.
the key. She's secure enough to know that there's nothing wrong with it. That I'm not going to go and try and impregnate her.
Yes.
And I don't have to say anything either.
Right.
But I've heard of couples where they talk and they say that's a beautiful woman, or that guy is beautiful. That's great. Nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that. That's healthy.
I think so. I think it's healthy. What
I
do you guys think?
used to get killed on that with my ex-wife, with me appreciating beauty. A good-looking guy would walk by. I'm like, wow, look at the delts on that guy.
Yeah.
And she's just like, what are you, gay? Like, I'm like, it went either way. If it was a good-looking girl or a good-looking guy, I'd be
Yeah.
appreciative of that, because
Exactly.
that's beautiful. It's
Exactly.
attractive, right?
It is.
And somebody's worked really hard on that body or that look or whatever it
Taking
is.
care of
And-
themselves,
Yeah,
yeah.
and it
Yeah.
actually it draws attraction as
It
well.
does.
So I think it's more your partner's insecurity coming into I'm not good enough. And again, it goes back to men making women safe rather than having them actually have to come after the validation and for the acknowledgement. If you give them lavish praise, like I said, in my experience, if men were to do that, they would have all the sex that they need.
Yeah. And so that brings me to another point. So men that I find are not feeling like they're not getting enough at home, this is where sometimes we're turning to porn.
Yes and no. I mean, I think porn serves a purpose,
Okay.
like in a way. Like if let's say my partner's not around and I've got a high sex drive, then I might go to porn just to do what porn does, which is typically just to get you off. Like, I don't think people look at porn casually unless they have addictions and that sort of thing.
Right.
They're usually going there for a reason or for a whichever. But myself in my life, like I really never watch porn anymore because I'm satisfied at home.
Right.
And because I'm so busy doing what I'm doing. Like, people need to be more active and committed to their vision or a higher purpose or something, because that fuels you, that drives you. You don't have time for things like porn or stuff like that when you are doing what you love and doing what makes you happy. And that's what everyone should be doing. The comment about people, like men not getting enough at home, I don't think he really needs it. He doesn't necessarily need to have it every day. Like, I don't need to have it every day.
Yeah.
I don't want it every day.
Yeah, like that takes a lot of energy, right?
Yeah.
So that's
it
a
takes
myth.
a lot of energy.
So that's
Yeah,
myth, right?
Definitely
I
a
think
myth.
for the most part, a man who has a sexual appetite that way is not getting fulfilled in other ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good to know. All right.
I think that what happens is people are sort of in two different states at all times. They're either being love or they're seeking love. And if you actually look at everybody in the world and everybody you know, you can start to see that some people live their whole lives in seeking love. And there's different flavors of it, and some of it is like what you were saying, like that jealousy, that like even if you look at
Insecure,
porn, now I'm
yeah.
gonna freak out.
Yeah.
And like that, there's no way you could do anything with that person. It doesn't mean anything about you, right? And then we see people who are being love, and I know we've all been in a state of being love. It's that feeling of being in grace. It's that feeling of being in our convictions and strong enough to take care of ourselves. And we can have all the flavors of being love as well. We can be angry, we can even be jealous, but we're grounded and centered in a deeper understanding. And so I think what happens for people like with porn and things like that, cheating, infidelity, is that they're seeking love. They're seeking a feeling within themselves.
Exactly.
Usually these things are related to sex addictions, and it's like it brings a burst.
Yep. Well,
like that burst when you have that first romantic feeling. A lot of people enjoy it. I don't personally
Chasing the
enjoy
dragon,
it, but yeah. It's like, people chase the dragon, exactly, because it becomes like a chemical thing in our body.
it is a chemical thing.
Yeah.
That's
That's
exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It's a
Very
chemical
true.
thing
Yes.
that gets you going. So you want more of it. You want more of it, and that's how it starts.
And
And
then
then you find it loses luster, right?
Yeah, and then people don't address the real issue.
Exactly.
And usually the real issue I find over and over and over again with my clients goes way back.
Yeah.
It goes way back to mom. It goes way back to dad.
Absolutely.
Not that moms and dads are responsible for, like, once you're an adult,
Yeah.
you're on your own.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And everybody has dysfunction in their life. Like, maybe the Dalai Lama is totally functional, but the rest of us are struggling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's the thing to look at. And when we feel that feeling of seeking love, that feeling of being triggered or wounded, that's a clue to heal something.
Yeah.
And that's why what we
Absolutely.
do is so important, to help people through that, because try to stumble through that on your own.
Yeah.
It's so difficult.
Well, it's like cutting your own hair, right? I mean, it's a lot easier if somebody else does it. As
I would never do that. I would never.
You can't tell with the curls. So nobody notices. Sneaky haircuts.
So I get a lot of people that come into the office that are, struggling to meet someone. So I'll ask, well, what are you doing? Well, I'm online.
Yeah.
Right. And so I've got, my own take on the online dating, sort of, the way I see that as well is there's a safety behind the screen and the monitor.
Huge.
There's a lot of times when I'm sure people are in their grubbies back there. They might not have had a shower that day. It's not the kind of way you'd present yourself to meet someone. We were joking around earlier. You get these, what they refer to as junk shots. These pictures of men are sending of their penis, and
Dick
it's
pics,
like, I don't think you'd walk into a restaurant if someone extended their penis instead of their hand. That would be, I just.
It's a no-no.
Right.
It's a no-no.
You'd run the
That's
other way.
what it's like.
You'd run the
It's
other
just,
way. And
so-
you'd get kicked out of the bar.
Exactly. So I
Hopefully.
think that people are doing things that they would not do normally.
Yeah.
They're not presenting themselves the way they
true.
would. And then they're kind of wondering, well, why am I meeting such, sketchy people, or it's not working out, that kind of thing. So my question to the three of you is, what is your take on online dating? And also, just to take it a step further, is how is it impacting the level of connection that we're actually able to have, that chemistry, that law of attraction chemistry of meeting someone organically? What do you guys think?
Well, I think that, I actually encourage my clients to do online dating.
Okay.
One of the great things about online dating is it sort of cures any anxiety about meeting new people.
Right.
So I often work with women who took a big hiatus, like a 10-year mancation kind of thing. You know what I mean?
I've never heard of that.
And now they're like, that's a tamarism. So now they're coming off of this huge mancation, and they don't even know how to begin. They feel scared to even have a coffee date. And
Right.
I find online dating is a great way to just initiate back in. That was me. I'm sorry. That was
That's not fair.
Thank you
That
for
came
claiming
from over
it.
I
there.
claimed it. But I think that, I remember a story about New York City, and Mayor Giuliani wanted to clean up the city. So let's clean up the first thing. The first thing was the squeegee men.
Right.
And there was a concept that the city was being held hostage by the squeegee men. So he had a group of people go out and figure all this stuff out. It turned out there were 17 squeegee men.
That's it.
Oh my God.
I'm pretty sure there's about 17 squeegee men on these sites. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah, I get what
there's a
you're saying.
percentage of people showing up
Yes.
with their dicks out,
Yeah.
and they're doing all this stuff, and then people get jaded by it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
for
Do you know
sure.
what I mean? And they get overwhelmed by it, and they don't have the social skills or the guidelines or a setup to be able to get past that, to see it coming and all that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
personally, I have a big resistance to online dating, which is why I created the organic method of dating, because I find online dating to be such an unhealthy alternative, and I really do think that it's something that people resort to. I don't think it's really like an authentic choice. I think if people really could choose, they would like to meet someone the natural way, the organic way, as they're out there living their life, just like we've seen in the movies, just like our parents did.
Yeah.
Unless they went to like a rodeo or a dance, or like, somebody, the town crier matched them up, which is what happened with matchmaking way back in the day. But I think that people, if given the chance, they'd like to meet someone naturally.
Yeah.
And I really do hear a lot of complaints of online dating. And like you said, like, what's the first thing you're doing? I'm online. Well, that's like jumping into the pool without a bathing suit on. You want to equip yourself a little bit with some tools. You want to equip yourself with some communication abilities, or being clear about what you want, or having learned from past relationships. And law of attraction, it's proven through quantum physics that it's a very real thing. It's not just law of attraction, it's really the way the universe operates.
Absolutely.
We live in a holographic universe. So in the organic method of dating, I teach people how to attract someone naturally just by being out there living your life, which I really do think, it's better than like the stuff that's out there with online, which is a lot of different factors, from which site are you on, what's your intention, is your intention the same as someone else's,
Yeah.
are they there to pick up, are you there to be in a relationship? There's so many factors, and it leads to a lot of jaded and resignation.
yeah, people
like you
get
mentioned.
really, really jaded. But it is important to learn how to operate going out. I run a little program that I call Catch and Release, which is I take people out for the night, and we go to all sorts of it's basically bar hopping. And I teach them how to stand, how to talk, how to, and I talk them down when they get all like, the cute guy's
He's
coming.
talking to
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
What
yeah.
do I do?
And so then I talk them down so that they have a natural rapport with people. And then also the release part is to not get so attached. You know what I mean? It's like, oh my God, I met him. He's so cute. Michael,
No,
townhouse
no,
or
no,
you
no.
know.
Yeah. Sorry.
And then Jude's like,
Yeah, exactly. You just saw it live in action.
You got a totally different
Yeah,
take.
it's funny, like, pro against online dating, and to me, it's just a tool.
Yeah.
It just gives you more avenue to express who you are, get yourself out there. The biggest thing that I work with my clients is that if you want to find good quality people, like the saying I use is, I will never find a really attractive yoga instructor sitting in a Taco Bell line.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
if you're looking for good quality people, like, you can try online. It's a tool. The tool is probably not going to work as well if you're looking for good quality people. You're looking for guys who are involved in charities. You're looking for people who are empowered, who are working on themselves, and spokesmen's clubs, or Toastmaster clubs. There are people who are volunteering. If you go to places like that, you're going to find quality people who are good-hearted, who are actually going to be better at relationships because they're actually working on themselves first and foremost, rather than trying to go online to get something from somebody else and make them complete.
Yeah.
As opposed to finding a good quality person where good quality people hang out, and then it's easy.
That's true. So I just realized I got to stop eating at Taco Bell now because I can't be quality. But that's very true. I find when people go online dating, one of the reasons they go on because they don't know where to go to meet people.
Yeah.
So one of the things I suggest to people is go do the things that you like to do. What would you like to be doing with that person? Go and do that.
Yeah.
So, because people that like to do that thing are there.
That's right.
So it's probably
You want to have the
right.
same activities and
Yeah,
interests,
so
of course.
a lot
yeah.
of people are sitting back at home and just going online. They're not really getting out doing things. And that kind of comes back to what you're saying of get out there.
Yeah.
Get off the couch. Get out from behind the computer. It's great as a tool.
Yeah.
It's great as a little bit of a boost and a hand holder while you're getting back in from your mancation or your womancation, right?
We don't
And-
take womancation. It's not possible. We don't want
Or the
to.
most
That's like the worst
that's
thing ever.
with
Like that's the
depressed.
worst
You guys
idea
are
ever.
hard
Yeah.
workers, no
Why-
womancation.
That's depression.
No, but why
right
would we
there,
do?
yeah.
We need you to
Depression.
live and breathe.
Yeah,
Why would we do
that's
that?
why everything that we do. It's like
I would hate to
depression.
be on Single Man Island. Like, wow.
I would go to Single Man
You
Island.
would go to Single
You
Man
do
Island.
well there.
Let's
You
send
do
you
well
there. Let's send
You
you
do
there.
quite well.
I'll stay here
They'd
where
like
there's.
you.
All right, okay, I'll keep it. So no Taco Bell, go to Single Man Island. I got it. Good tip.
Last summer, I went to 4 weddings.
Yeah.
3 of them met on POF, which is a Plenty of Fish free website, and one couple met on eHarmony. So it is working.
Yes.
It does
for
work.
people.
Yeah,
It
of
does
course.
work.
Just
yeah.
for a very
Well, yeah.
small segment of the
It
population.
just works for a smaller segment of the population, but people are definitely meeting.
Yeah, it works.
and
So
falling
law of
in love.
attraction, back to law of attraction. So I teach law of attraction, and if you get on there thinking you're going to meet some douchebag, you will attract one because
Exactly.
that's the energy that you're putting out there.
Simple.
Like attracts like, and opposites attract, right? So if somebody is, I mean, maybe this is not the most PC term, but if somebody is a douchebag and they're looking for that girl that they can go on there, and she's got that energy, they'll connect. They will just connect.
I find that interesting because I don't attract douchebags anymore, even if I'm looking for one. You know, because they don't have value in what I have to give, because I won't validate them and I won't, give them negative energy.
But you've
And-
also healed past.
You've done that work.
Yeah, but at the
Yeah.
same time, again, I can also see the signs of what that is. So
Yeah.
a lot of attractions takes you so far, but it's up to us to actually see the signs of
sure.
the person, who that person is coming into the relationship or bringing whatever they bring to the table, and then it's up to us to actually see that and accept it. Now, I always say 100% of the time, a man will always show you who he is. Believe him. You know, most women that I deal with, come to me and they ask for validation. Like, he did this, and what does this mean? I'm like, well, you know what it means. You just don't want to accept that's how he is because you want to change him or you want to fix him, because that's what the value they're getting out of the relationship. Because generally they might be fixers, they might be enablers.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to it, they have a lot of value in that relationship. When they actually accept a guy for who he is and say, okay, he's shown me 100% who he is, believe him, next.
Yeah.
And you'll save yourself a lot more, time and energy that way.
Absolutely. Now, the other thing is people who are looking to get married. I mean, there's a bit of a look at all these tips that are out there. 7 ways to hook a man. This stuff that they tell women out there. To me, it's a bit preposterous. And it's still that notion that women are chasing men and men are running. And what is the actual truth out there? Are men really wanting to run away from women that show that they love them or they're interested, or they can't, you can't let on?
Yeah.
What are some of these books like Think Like a Man, Act Like, whatever they are, right?
Harvey, yeah.
Do we really need to trick men into like, guess what, I'm going to do
Yeah,
this, and
like
then
the
now
rules were,
the rules, and now I've got you.
Yeah.
I think there's a good and a bad to everything. It's
Okay.
all about your intention, right?
Right.
If you're going to see a catch line or a headline like catch 'em and hook 'em and stuff like that if your intention is to hook, it's like, I'm the bait.
Yeah.
You're hooking me. Nobody likes to be taken advantage of.
Exactly.
But if you're going to use that just to like help me meet you, and you're going to use that to help me meet, so you can understand how I think, so you can stop thinking how you think sometimes because it's not serving you, then that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But nobody likes to be harassed.
Yeah.
Nobody likes to be chased.
Yeah.
I mean, the chase is fun when you're younger. You play that game of back and forth. It's kind of what it's about when you're younger. But I think as you grow older and you mature, you realize that people want to be with authentic people. Especially nowadays. We're so tired of everything being fake and everything being inorganic and inauthentic and GMO and this. We're so tired of it. We just want real.
Yeah, totally want real.
I think that, I primarily work with alpha females, and what I always usually say to them is that they're not using their superpower, that women have a superpower that men don't have. It all starts with women. And women have this feminine energy, as Michael alluded to earlier on, which actually attracts men. So, a woman's not actually out there chasing a man. That's ass backwards. What it is a woman actually creates the attraction, and the man follows the woman's lead. And then there is the dance of surrender back and forth between the two partners in a workable relationship. So that way the woman is inspiring. If you're inspiring your man, you're going to see him go to great levels that he could never ever get to without your superpower of feminine energy, of inspiration, of being a solid feminine energy of the support system. And inside of that, you can actually communicate to your partner how you need to be loved as well, back and forth. And the man, if he has the tools and he is able to do it, he will give that to you 100% of the time. If he doesn't do it, there's not a fit.
All right, good. Okay, well, we're going to be wrapping up shortly, but I just wanted to ask you all, give me your one piece of take-it-home advice today that's going to help our viewers, have a better relationship, a better date next time, better sex, whatever it is. Give us your last piece of advice there.
Sure. Well, if they're single, and it seems like we've been talking a lot about the topic of dating and getting into a great relationship, I can only say that the best thing I can give is that your next relationship will start only as good as your last one ended. So that means doing the work to resolve and complete and honor your last partner so that your next partner has a fresh start, a clean slate. Otherwise, they don't have a chance, and you're just bringing that last relationship behavior, tendencies, attitudes, all that into this next relationship. And you can get it complete anytime just by doing that work on yourself.
Absolutely. And I just want to add to what Michael's saying there is, when you go into a new relationship, leave the past in the past. So let's not have your new partner pay for the crimes of your past partner.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And we do this unconsciously.
A lot.
You don't consciously think like,
Yeah.
Jeff, you're going to pay for what Joe did. Like,
Yeah.
it's just unconscious.
Because you become used to that being the pattern, and the triggers come up, and so you
Yeah.
think this is this again, and
You
you're
think,
actually looking for it to be
Sometimes
that.
you bait them too.
Yeah,
Like, you're
totally.
like, I dare you to do this. Oh
Yeah.
my God, he did it. I knew he was going
I
to do it.
knew he was gonna do
Yeah.
it,
right?
Totally
I
knew
knew
it.
it,
Oh.
yeah.
There it is.
Just like every other man out there.
Yeah, there it is.
He's going to pay for this.
Yeah.
Tammy,
Right.
what do you got?
I would say face your intimacy walls.
Okay.
And clear your blocks, whatever they are, the blocks to making it in your relationship. And so I talked about being love and seeking love. Find the way to be love. And some of that is looking at culpability. I'm talking about culpability a lot because everybody's allergic to it. Nobody wants to just face, I screwed up.
Yeah.
To just say, I screwed up. And I made a mistake, or I even did this on purpose because I wanted the outcome. You know what I mean? And so when people do that, then we can have a better and more delicious relationship. We can go deeper.
Sure.
We can be more who we really are. Like, stop walking on eggshells. Stop pretending and start having the difficult conversations so that you can have the juicier conversations.
Perfect. Chuck.
I think in my side, the one piece of advice I would actually, I give out to my clients, which makes a huge breakthrough for them, is asking your partner, what is love for you?
Okay.
We all love differently. Some are visual, some are auditory, some are kinesthetic, but we all expect people to love the way we love, which is just never the case. So there's always that miscommunication of, I'm loving you the way I love, but that's not the way the person needs to be loved. So it's actually having a really vulnerable conversation with what is love for you. And then it's up for me as the partner saying, can I support you on that? Can I actually love you like that? Because when a person feels loved, then they'll actually do their best in their relationship. They're not hiding resentment. They're not being angry or bitter or resentful that you're not loving me the way I want. And they don't even know that. So it starts with that conversation, which is very, very simple, but nobody does it. I mean, people spend $60,000 and upwards on weddings, yet they don't start with the very first conversation is, what is love for you?
Yeah.
And can I support you on that way? There's the 5 languages of love in that book. And, if you're going out with a woman or a man who just doesn't love the same way, well, now you know. It's going to save you so much more time up front. You either pay now or you pay later, but guaranteed you always pay. So if you're armed yourself right away with the knowledge of what love is for them, then you can support them, and there's a good fit or there's not a good fit, and then everybody wins.
Perfect. What do you have up and coming?
September 19th or the 12th. September 19th or the 12th is our next Sensational Sex Seminar in Toronto. We also have in Greenville, South Carolina, for any visitors in the U.S. August. Wow, I'm really good with dates right now. August 8th, our next Sensational Sex Seminar as well.
Okay, and where can they get that information?
On my website at therelationshipmaster.com, also at thesensationalsexseminar.com.
Perfect, thank you. Tammy, what do you got coming up?
I run a monthly dinner called Dinnerspirations, and what I do is I bring in a second speaker, and it's a beautiful French gourmet meal. It's beautiful networking, and so we do this lovely talk. So I want to invite everybody in the Toronto area to come on down for that. It's once a month, and you can find that if you find me. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Twitter. Also, my website is tammycunningham.com. And I also run a workshop called Mastery of Self-Expression. It's a franchised workshop, so I have the franchise for it. And it is a powerhouse.
Amazing.
It's amazing. Oh,
I'm taking
thank
it.
you.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's mind-blowing.
That's cool.
Thank you. Yeah, so, and that's coming up in the fall. We're just solidifying the dates, and I'm going to be going into Montreal soon as well.
Ooh, I love Montreal.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Chuck, what's on the horizon?
So I've got a novel coming out. It's called Journey of a Lifetime. It's about the final 5 seconds of your life and being complete inside of that. And I'm going off to Europe to do the online version. So there's a digital version of the book, and there's actually the book itself. So we're going to take the point of view of the character and take pictures of him backpacking through Europe, and then come back and then put it in the digital version of the book. So I'll be heading up to Europe at the end of the month to do that. If you want to check out my Facebook page, it's Men Don't Get It. What we do on that page is basically have a forum for people to figure out what it is that works for them inside of relationships. And you can drop in on that as well. And I have some speaking engagements coming up as well at the JCC in Toronto downtown and in the East End as well. So you can get all that on Men Don't Get It.
Fabulous.
Or at Chuck Bastie on Twitter.
That's awesome. Sounds good, guys. Well, I'd like to thank you all for joining me today, leaving you with a final note. When you're dating and in relationships, Renee Zellweger said in Jerry Maguire, you complete me, and I totally want to blow that out of the water. You were complete the minute you came out of your mother's womb. So bring yourself completely to a relationship, and that will likely lead you to success. I want to thank my hosts, Michael Santonato, Tammy Cunningham, Chuck Bastie, for joining me today. And I'd like to thank you for watching. Remember to stop waiting and start living 365.